Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Building Blocks, where we program Minecraft mods live on camera. And okay, we are quite literally going to be building stuff today, so that's going to be entertaining. But first, I have an interesting little quick mechanic to show that I have actually been working on probably more than I should over the last couple of days, because it did that thing where I get an idea and it just grips me and just will not leave me alone until such time as I actually make sure that it is completely good and functional. So here we have furry mobs, a villager, a sheep, and a husk, because it doesn't burn in sunlight, which makes them easier to test. And I see those hugs in the chat. Just give me a second, and also a moment for these guys to hopefully shut up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So we have a new potion effect called Sleep. And as you can see, it is not really affecting the husk because he's undead and he does not sleep. But everybody else, the sheep, the villager, including me, is now giving off these Z particles. Z, Z, however you want it to go. And currently this doesn't have any effect on players, but that is coming up. It's going to be very similar to petrification. And if I was to punch this villager, he wakes up. And if I was to punch him significantly, he would, like, actually, him taking damage would wake up the sheep over here as well. Now, there is a little bit more into this as well. So if we come over here, and we go back to night, then I can sit in this bed, it spawns a zombie, and I am then woken up by him taking damage. And boy, that didn't take very long. And that is all part of the sleep mechanic. Now, this means that when a mob is asleep, currently only via the status effect, we can add it by other things, mobs can't attack you. They don't move around, they don't aggro, they don't even actually try to swim, so if you knock somebody out in the middle of an ocean, they will start to drown, but then they will usually wake up. And if the debuff, if the effect is of level 2 or higher, then them taking damage doesn't wake them up. A little bit like the Forged Sleep mods. I don't know the Forged Sleep mods, so I wouldn't know more bits. But basically this means that you can theoretically cast a sleep spell or something, or go into an area where a bunch of usually hostile mobs are sleeping and sneak through. And this is accomplished with the mobs by adding a very generic sleep AI behavior to all of them. And with players, it's going to be accomplished very similar to petrification. So when you are petrified, according to various oddities, it basically just auto-opens a UI screen that you cannot escape until that effect is lifted, or you die, but in the case of sleeping, not happen. But you do also make the actual, like, particles when you're in a bed, which is a nice little touch. I liked that. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. I like that. It's a nice, quick little thing. The main thing we're doing tonight, of course, is working on the whales, because we have... Oh, thank you for that, Alan. We have whale stomachs, and we have the interiors of them, and we are now working on adding structures to them to give them a bit more variety and color and all sorts. So here we have some recent examples. So I've managed to get the structures to spawn close in to the actual center, so they're a bit more visible because the caving always runs through the middle here. And also fixed up Ambergris so it now actually spawns again, because previously it was trying to isolate where the actual surface was based on the presence of stained clay, and of course we don't have any stained clay in here, but as we can see it is fixing itself around the bottom of the area it's in a lot better now, and that means that this is pretty much ready to actually be to actually, like, get proper structures and not just all of these bones and as such. It's still looking hellish around here, but we'll have the borders back up shortly. Which one am I facing? What's next? Yeah. So, that's our next job today, is to create ourselves some structures that actually reflect things that you can find inside of these stomachs. And then, terrain, it's pretty much done. Pretty much done here. Pretty nice. Yep. Oh yeah, the one Ketsi made? No, I'm not familiar. More bits. If this functions similarly, then I guess. But this also lets us put players to sleep, like just by normal. So the things stick out of the stomach allowance zones. They stick out of, like, this interior zone. I haven't seen any more actually, like, generating outside of the border. Thankfully, because we got that code done. You can, of course, occasionally find them... where did you go? You can occasionally find them going right up to the border. That part, I can't really help too much. But there'll still be the border on the edge there that will be impassable, so that's not really a huge concern. But yeah, these are looking pretty good, pretty close to done. Certainly you saw a big bit outside. Oh. Let me see, if I fly backwards, maybe we can find it. Because that would be a bug that we don't really want. Because these structures will appear over top of our borders. I'm not seeing anything here. Cam? When you go to sleep, people can't have any people in the game or sleeping give up century when they're. Oh, no, that's, Morpheus, I think, or close to it. In which case, this does not affect that at all. And if you're inside of it, that will also only work if you're in a bed. If you're just, like, knocked out by a sleep spell, it doesn't necessarily work. But that also, having this code also means we can detect when something is, when somebody is sleeping and such, whether it be from sleep or, from being in a bed. And with that, we can actually interrupt that with other things, because there are some spells that work expressly on sleeping creatures and the like. Flew through it, generated. Oh, are you thinking of this? Is that what you saw? Because that's just old, bugged Ambergris. Hoping it was a visual glitch. Yeah, all I'm seeing is old Ambergris bug. Not seeing anything outside here. Still, very good to check that out just before. Yeah, this is looking good to me. Not seeing any flaws. Okay, so, yeah, we are going to need a world within which to construct our constructions, and we're going to need to create some structure files. So, whale structures. Super flat, don't need the structures on, that would be a little bit redundant. And basically, all we need to do is create some structures and replace the ones that ones that we're currently using. So let's see, game rule. Do daylight cycle false. Let's also turn off the weather cycle. I should really just. I feel like I should just like create a like world gen type that is just all of these values, because I do this every single time. And teleport everything that currently exists to -60. There. And set the time to 6K. That's nice and bright. There we go. Right. So give me a structure block. I thought it was one such instance. Yeah. Apologies if there is noise in the background for this stream, by the way, everybody. I do have the window open. It is currently like 25 degrees Celsius. So I have the window open, but also there's a lot of kids and stuff outside, and they're noisy. Okay. So let me see here. Let's do the Ambergris, that's not what I'm looking for. Let's give ourselves an array of the current structures that we are using. What the hell if I can spell? Fossil spine 01. So let's load a U. And fossils, fossil spine 2. Fossils, fossil spine 03. I thought I just cloned that, wouldn't it? And 04. So those are all the spines that we're working with. I don't know if we want to go as large as that. I feel like we should probably stick to relatively smaller structures, because it's not theoretically impossible for our whales to have much larger stuff inside of them, but I feel like that should predominantly be something that gets added by players. Why are you thinking of the witchery sleeping apples and how sleeping bodies could then be moved to other places? I mean... it's not possible. Let's see, so skull... and the last skull, which are relatively uniform in size, interestingly enough. There isn't actually all that much deviation between them compared to these. But okay, so those are the 8 structures that currently spawn inside of whale stomachs. We want to make our own custom things that make them that look a bit more like ships and whatnot. Can't remember how the bodies were able to be moved the usual ways of moving passive mobs. Well, like leashes. Leashes, boats, minecarts. Nudging backwards and forwards directly into them. Yeah, I don't think we want to be as long as this under most circumstances. But okay. Right. So... in 1.15, I think? I can't recall exactly when they got the Ocean Aquatic update. They added a bunch of ships, and those were pretty close to what we would expect to actually find inside of whale stomachs. Let me just have a look at those. Now, the biggest one is probably not like probably way beyond our usual or ideal scale here, because those are huge. But there's other pieces that are much smaller than that. Many varieties of shipwreck. So let's start by getting some jungle woods. Yeah, that'll be nice. Give a nice little like touchings of being wet and whatnot. Okay. So let's start. There was a mod in 1.6.4 of a mob crane. Oh, right, yes, you would, like, wear a backpack thing, it would spawn in front of you. Yeah, I know what you mean there. So let's just start off with a relatively small boat. This is going to be very much a building kind of stream. Oh, you want Carol to dab? I don't know if Carol necessarily understands the whole, like, concept of dabbing, but there we go. The days of the Buildcraft Quarry. Yeah, way back when. Looking at pretty detailed with these if we like, so we might as well. Saying the other day you play with Pneumatic Craft but could never understand it. Yeah, Pneumatic Craft is complex. Okay, that's starting to take decent shape, I think. Curse of new Minecraft plants. Oh god, yeah. Tempted on occasion to load up one of the really old mod packs. There's something to be said for nostalgia, that's for sure. I think this needs to be a step back. Yeah, of course, World of Madness, we have a ton of gorgeous structures that we just find around the world the whole time. Like, a ton, actually. Like, we probably should try and, like, ease it down a bit. Okay, let's get rid of a few of these as well. You can also theoretically build these 100% like complete and just have the just have the structure generate with a percentile. But that would more frequently end up with pieces just hanging in midair, and that's not really so great. Unless we generate, unless we do what pretty much these do, which is there is a version of these that's fully bone blocks, and there's a version of it that's fully coal ore. And what they do there is they spawn one of those 100% and one of those at a fragmentary percent, and that just overlays on top of it, which is long-winded and also wouldn't necessarily work for this either way. So we're just going to try and make this look a little bit more disheveled, if we can. Okay. We can also include some mobs in these if we wanted to. Or a mob spawner, for instance. Like maybe this particular whale has parasites or something. It's hard to say exactly. But okay, what's some nice, especially some various oddities blocks. What can we put in here? Some moss, perhaps? Stick some of that around. An extinguished campfire for a little bit of detail work, yeah. If it's swallowed a player, it technically has parasites. You're not wrong. It's more or less all the players are for a lot of things. A little bit of glowy fungus as well, just to give this a bit of light. And I know there's a way to put the what's it called? I know that there is a way to put down chests that have contents that are drawn from loot tables, but for the life of me, I cannot remember what it is. But I could do that with like a clay pot, for instance. Just stow that down here. So let's just see if I can remember what the command is. Let's start. Okay. What are the names? Let's see. Assets, Minecraft, loot tables, chests. And let's give these the same details as a simple dungeon. Sounds good to me. So that should just be chests, simple dungeon. .json. Does not appear to have worked though. Oh. Oh. Apparently yes. That's interesting. Hang on, did I do this interestingly? If I look back at my code, am I going to find... all I'm looking for is loot. There you are. Loot table. Okay. Fill with loot. That's what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is the point where that goes. Okay, has the thing loot table. Yes. Okay. Found something interesting out yesterday involving compost spins and trapdoors. Oh. Is it that it will send you into crawling mode? That does appear to be right, we just don't see it in here for whatever reason. And then we break it and suddenly a bunch of things appear. That's odd, but I guess I'll take it. So negative 485 and 493. Oh, I'm looking at the complete wrong thing, that's why. Looking at the complete wrong coordinates. 6 and 490. Yep, there we go. Looking at negative 486, 6, and 487. There we go. Okay, so let's call that our first structure. Not too complicated. It looks pretty nice. I do think I could do with another half slab here, though. Just round that edge off a little bit. Yeah, not a big ship, but a ship nonetheless. So, if we find our position, set it about there, save, structure size, 1 for the moment. Okay, so you are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks tall, 5 blocks deep, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks long. Okay. Now, next step. we have our structure, but if we were to take this right now and import it, it would just create a cube around itself rather than actually being embedded in the terrain, which is what we want. Might have been humorous had DM lying found himself stuck in a compost bin by accident. I'm not gonna say it hasn't happened. Okay, so let's call this Whale Ship 1 for the moment. And we need to actually grab ourselves some structure void and make this look a little better. So, get that P structure. Bloop. There. Do not include entities. Show invisible blocks. So these little squares indicate all of the air blocks that will also be imported into this if we are content to actually like, go with it. We don't want that, however. We want to make sure that as much of the air of this as we can possibly manage is actually just left. It's just left behind. We don't want to import that. Now we can go by this very slow method, of course. Or we can find ourselves a better way, which is most probably to just use a command. So let's see. /fill and let's see, am I in the right spot? About there. Okay. With structure void 0 replace air. And I just need to go down another block there. Ah, right, yes. Blip. Because now we have a bunch that's not necessarily in the right place, but it's fine. Not a huge concern if we accidentally have some just in this little building world. Assume there's a bunch out there as well. Okay, so now if there's any parts of this that we want to make sure are always empty, we can just remove the structure void that's there, and it will basically be cloned as a always there air block. It's not a huge concern to us for this project at the very least, so we're just going to take this and hit save. So there is Whale Ship 1. Now, we need to take that out of the save data and shove it into our resources, and then tell our actual generator to use that instead of all of the different like skeleton pieces. And then we can start making more. Yeah. So I don't think all of these are going to be ships. Some of them will, so like at least one of them is going to be like a small raft or two, and then we can just have some random debris, flotsam and jetsam lying around, that kind of thing. But okay. So this is also interesting information to know should you happen to want to actually create something and then put it into the world as like entity data everywhere you like. So put the lid on the compost bin while the player can't get out. Oh, right, yeah. So let's follow the organizational structure here. So there is the file area where it needs to be. So we want structures into there. And we might as well have ourselves a subfolder as well. Call it whale debris. Okay, and then inside of our debris pieces, we want to change at least some of this to be reference.modinfo.modPrefix plus whale ship 1. Did I call it 1 or 01? 01. Okay, good. So that will now replace one of those spines with our whale ships. Now let's just, for the sake of argument right now, have that be our default down here. And to get rid of basically everything else up here. Which should mean that the only thing that spawns are these ships. Which is good for testing to see if it must be going. Must be hot if Lang isn't drinking tea. I mean, I like juice. There's nothing wrong with juice. How on earth did it... Never mind. Just a piece of black thread randomly on my chest. Okay. Could be worse, I guess. But also, I had a lot of trouble sleeping last night, so I'm trying to make sure I have as little caffeine in my system as I can going forward tonight. Okay, so if we noom forwards along the positive X direction, we should see some new generation. And that should mean that we switch out from seeing all of these bones to seeing our whale ships. Let's see how long that takes us. And since we know that our thing is going to involve some glowy moss, let's dial down the lighting. And you... Oh, right, yes, I see what's happened there. 1 second, you guys, I see what happened there. Generally, I want to see you drinking non-tea during hot moments. I mean, it's a hot month right now. It's like 30 degrees C here. And, oh, right, yeah, we're not seeing any structures because I didn't refresh the resources, so it doesn't actually know they exist. That's easily fixed. So, yep, structures, whale debris. Should be the same thing it's looking for. Mars or Venus? I think I'm a Gemini. Pretty sure I'm a Gemini on that part at least, actually. But I don't know what planet that relates to. 30 Celsius is what in Fahrenheit? That equates to 86 Fahrenheit. Which I know is not like big for say Texas or Florida, but we do not have the infrastructure for that. Okay, continue flying forwards and seeing if we turn up anything, and we're going to be back to bones, which is interesting. Am I flying in the correct direction? Yeah, I should be. And yet always doing it best is Ambergris. A lot of Ambergris in some cases, but let's teleport forwards like 1,000. Speak whale. And enter. Yeah, 1,000 blocks should definitely put us into new gen, and we're not seeing any structures, which means it's having trouble locating our structure. Okay. So, what is causing that to happen? Answer most likely is that we've given it the wrong, like, message as to where it should be. So let's see, we had...
Player has joined the game.
No. Oh, wait, right, yes, I see. Whale instead of whale debris. There we go. That's the problem. It was staring me in the face the whole time. Wasn't making a Lord of the Rings reference, but both is good. I mean, at some point I need to make a creature very similar to the lurker in the lake from outside Moria. Like, at some point I need to do giant squid. Those are gonna be entertaining as heck. especially given the constituents of actual squid inside of Minecraft. Ooh. Okay. Let's try that again. Wasn't the lurker a full-blown kraken? I mean, you never really see it. I know it has lore, but I'm not 100% on the lore. But also, a kraken is, I think, a separate thing inside of Dungeons and Dragons. That's another thing I need to make at some point. More bones. How are there still more bones? Hey, we got ships. Hooray! Ship is happening, everybody. Okay, we might want to fill in the areas inside with air, just so we don't end up with stuff like this. Obviously, you can't waterlog inside of 112. But that looks nice. Like, just finding ships inside of these is pretty sweet. Mars is Scorpio, Venus is Taurus. Okay, so what is Gemini? Gemini's planet is Mercury, the smallest, naturally. Oi. So, there we go. I am, in fact, apparently a Mercury. Yeah, that's looking good, I think. We can definitely have some, like, some structures with, like, torches in them and stuff, but, yeah, this is nice. That's a good start. Okay, right, and now that we've got it working for one, we can get it working for any number we like. So, let's say that we have 3 different ships we want to use. Congrats, I'm now Sailor Mercury. I was always, like, more of a Sailor Jupiter fan, personally. Like, she was my jam, but, yeah. And then let's just have some actual generic, like a few generic debris as well. Which would give us a grand total of 6 options. And let's default to the debris that'll be smaller as well. Could be Mercury and still have a hero worship thing on Jupiter, I guess. Hey Stick, how you doing? Today we are making structures to spawn in, like, world gen, inside of whales specifically. We're getting full on Pinocchio here, essentially. And now that we've actually figured out how to get that working, to get our custom structures working, yay! Doing good. Spent the last 24 hours moving everything over from Mixer. Yeah, rip. I remember you were on Mixer, oh dear. You remember when you were like 8 playing Sailor Scouts with your best friend at the time? Aww. So there's our first structure, complete with a pair of chests, essentially, in the form of clay pots. Let's make ourselves a little raft, I think. Let's actually use, like, different woods for this as well. So give the implication that these whales have gotten around. Okay, and dark oak that was as well. So let's see, how do we want to make this next one. Oh, remember you were like 8 playing Sailor Scouts with your best friend at the time? Oh. Adorable. Okay, let's just make sure I have the actual clear space here. Because I feel like I'd like to make a Catamaran or something to that effect. Just get rid of the area that I hecked up with the or at least a lot of the area that I hecked up with the whole thing here. Like what's what's left of a Catamaran would be a nice detail here. Reading the same message twice? What? Did I with the exact same what? What? Did I read that twice? Huh. Well. I am getting old. We do know this. Mars is also Aries? That makes sense. Nowhere near grey muzzle status. I will say my facial hair is actually salt and pepper, so I'm pretty sure I've been there a while. Grey muzzle is 45. Oh, is that a warrior cats thing? I should have built these further apart so that I wasn't running into the air blocks there. Grey muzzle means old? Okay, noted. Well, then I'm definitely grey muzzle. Not 45 yet? Yeah, give it time. Give it time. And not very much of it. Let's see. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide. And 11 deep. Alright, so there's all the hecked up voids that I missed. Really kinda wish it would only show you one or the other rather than all of them. Just creates this big, semi-visually confusing grid. Or at the very least, I wish that voids were a replaceable block. Like, if you right-clicked on them with another block, they went away. Because it'd make them much easier to actually work with. Okay, right. My sticks are burning? Oh, they are indeed. Okay, I will go check on my sticks, and I'll be back in about 10 minutes, everybody. See you then. And welcome back, everybody. So, just before we left off there, we were starting work on this Catamaran to complement our ship over here that's been wrecked. And I think I need to actually make these a bit more identical and then, like, bridge across them. Just to make this look a bit better. No? Plushy hug? Plushy hug. Ooh. It's always nice to have hugs. Okay. What's a catamaran? Basically it's dual-hulled ship. So you have two separate hulls, and then they are bridged by a platform on top, which then has the mast. Or at least that's what they were when they were sail-based. Nowadays they're a bit different. Nowadays they have engines. So we're going to start by making these look identical, and then we'll, I'd say spruce them up, but the reality is we're going to be dark oaking them up to give the impression of, like, different wear and whatnot. But yeah, you mostly tend I'm trying to think where you mostly tend to see catamarans. They're, I want to say, Pacific Islands kind of thing. But you see them in a lot of tropical areas as well. I think they're one of the things that's, like, spread out quite a ways. Okay, that looks good. Now, how do we want to bridge this across? Acacia wood, maybe? Purple, if we're going to make this look really exotic. I think we'll do purple for, like, another thing, but, yeah. It's tempting, it's tempting. Let's go with red sandstone. That might be a bit too contrasty. Stone slabs. Why not? Just need to figure out how I want to do this now. Okay. So now we find our middle and we figure out where we want to put ourselves a nice little mast. And I think in this case we'll actually be using some pillars. So let's go to, let's take the spruce pillar. Just try and mix in some of our modded blocks where we can. Okay. And then mix in some cobblestone slabs to muss this up a little bit. Ender whales, that would be cool. Whales floating through the space of the end dimension. The flying AI is basically the swimming AI. It is with, give or take, give or take. The difference, I think, is that you can stop when you're flying. Well, you can stop when you're swimming. You just sink. But when we get this upgrade, when we start to get things updated to like 115 and the likes, then we can start to get things a bit smoother in that regards. Okay, so just add some sprinklings of dark oak here. Gives the impression of a bit of weathering. And then we can remove some more blocks to make it look like it's been really messed up. Maybe it's been in this whale for quite some time. Who knows? As long as the weathering is asymmetric, then it should look fine. As far as you know, Bat AI is near identical to Squid AI? No, they're very, very different. Squid have almost no AI, in fact. Especially as of like 112. Okay. So let's just get rid of some blocks here and there. The impression this is a bit more scuppered. So whale ship 2. Right, and now again with the invisible blocks, we might want to put a chest in here, so say they all have like some degree of treasure. Like, it should be a nice thing to discover these things. In fact, let's use. Do I have more than one? I can theoretically use I can theoretically put a mimic in here. There is a thought. Don't know if I like the idea of putting a mimic in there though. One ship should just have fish in it? What do you mean? Let's just plunk a chest about there. So we're looking at 4786,488. Traps chest 1, 0, loot table. Chests, simple dungeon. And I need to make it face the other direction. Come on. What is the value I need for this? Don't know, because it doesn't want to tell me. Oh. There. Okay. Let's check something here. Good. Loot not generated. That's exactly what I want to see. So save whale ship 2. And for this one, we just want a very small little rift. Oh, and just last second there, remembered, we actually need to make sure that this... Why do I have horse armor? Oh, because my inventory is a complete mess, is why. Okay, let's grab some sponge. It's a block I know isn't involved in this. So, yep, all good. Okay, save. And I will double click that just to be sure. So then we have whale ship 3, which is just going to be a small little raft, essentially. Remember Geppetto was fishing while in Monstro? I mean, true. But also, how many people remember that the whale was called Monstro? Like, that's not a necessarily well-known thing. Okay, so... let's see. Let's go for the bright ones here. Let's go for Acacia. And let's also have some purple mixed in with that. Because why not? And we need the stairs and the slabs. So we want just a bitty little raft, essentially, for this. Which I know, I know a lot of people like to use campfires to make rafts nowadays because it looks pretty good, actually. But I don't know. Like, not for this, anyways. Not for this. I suppose I could use pillars. There's a point. Hang on, let's get the Acacia Pillars. Let's just quickly see how those look. Pretty sure you can't fall through these? Yeah. It's not horrifying. Make the boats feel more like they actually belonged to people. I mean, there's chests with stuff in them. So we used that, and then we put slabs over top. Yeah, they don't join up is the thing. So, maybe not. We can use them in detail later, though. Rafts tend to be longer than they are wide. I don't know why exactly, but you sort of do. So let's just start a little bit weathering, and let's use some stairs to weather this even more by just taking bits and pieces out. Environmental storytelling? Oh, don't. Oh, no, no. Don't, no, don't do that to me. Don't make me think of environmental storytelling. I love environmental storytelling. Okay, so that's looking pretty hacked up already. Let's add in some other detail here. So we have this notion that these things have come from who knows where in some cases. This is before we got the steps. So leave that be. But sure, let's chuck an end rod here. That's the cheeky beer. Would fish be such a bad thing to add? I mean, the trouble is I would need to change up, like, what the chest had in it and stuff. Oh, I bet you I know what's happening. It's generating the loot table for the pots when they're broken and not when they're opened. I'll need to remember that. That's a bug. So let's just drop a dropper about there. Okay. So set block blub 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 dropper 2 3. There you go. And loot table. Let me check what the fishing ones are. Let's see. Gameplay fishing. There, you happy? Okay, let's actually plunk that where it should be, about there. Needs to be another deep, so 5, and 1 less on the height. There you go. And as before, we want to make sure that there's no air in here. So a couple of these actually have built-in lights, but this one doesn't. But there we have it. Our free ships that you can find in here. So save, save, and let's go back to the code and the files and as such, and add those to our list. Debris we don't really want to know about right now, because it's just not going to be there anyways. Actually, in that case, we don't need to worry about any of these. No, because it'll default to those either way, so bleh. But debris are next. Have to make an entirely separate loot table for whale treasure for real storytelling. Correct. Like, in theory, I would need to make a separate loot table for all 3 of these to give you some greater idea of what they are.
Have a corgi.
Ooh, Cool. So saves, whale structures, add those two. Did I just say core? Yeah. Alright. So refreshed it so it knows about it, changed the code so it will actually try to place all three of them. And let's see how this looks. How incredibly British of me? I mean, it's a corgi. Of course. It's called a corgi because you're seeing a core. Cool blimey, it's a corgi. So once we've gotten this done, I just need to add an ambergris block, and then the whale stomachs will be done. It'll just be actual management at that point. Okay, positive X. We go this way. Because this is the closest route towards the boundaries of what has already been generated. Why are we still seeing bones? That's my next question. It's not they had a perimeter or something. Yeah, look at his little legs. Aww. Did I name these things wrong? No. Oh, right, no, yes, I absolutely totally did. I made the exact same mistake twice. Honestly, that's not even the worst mistake I've made today. Now obviously, these are spawning a structure per chunk of a stomach. That will not be what actually happens. It's actually probably going to be more like a 1 in 4 chance. Of course, that chance will be rolled per chunk, not like per stomach. So, there'll be that. But, yeah. The structures right now as they stand are significantly more densely populating than they will actually be. Just for testing purposes. Okay. Moving forwards. Yeah, still seeing the skeletons, that's interesting. There's not even a reference to the spines anymore. I can only presume those were generated somehow before everything else. Okay, so there's our little endy one. Quite nicely actually level with the water, which is pretty sweet. Good detail. This one has a fish. This one has some string. A pocket dimension like the doors? Oh no, I'm not doing that. Somewhere embedded in there is another ship. Now obviously, I feel like it should be noted that in reality you are unlikely to find ships in a whale's stomach, and even if you did, they probably wouldn't be deeply embedded in the stomach lining. But I like the idea that these whales are massive enough that they can eat these ships, first and foremost, and secondly, that they're in there for long enough they just sort of embed themselves anyways. So it's less a question of realism and more a matter that these are just really old and have been here for a very long while. And plus it gives the players incentive to actually start cutting away at the meat, which will then, like, cause them to harm the whale, and hey, education moment. Ooh, golden apple. Also, it's cool? Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, I need to change these to actually generate when they're opened as well. I could have sworn I already had, but... weird changes. Ooh, any book. Pufferfish. What happens if they cut away the meat? Not always, but often, it will cause damage to the whale. And of course, if the whale dies, you lose access to the stomach, you get ejected immediately. Removing, like, whale flesh from a whale's stomach will also reduce their maximum health. That's not fully implemented right now, because we actually had to get the whale stomach dimension working, period, to get that to happen. But, something to bear in mind. Like, proper management of the whale is an important factor when using a whale's stomach for any purpose. Pufferfish always look like they're screaming? Yeah, I get that. I can see that. See if we can find another one. Yeah, these look like they're doing quite nicely. Happy to see the code is working properly to actually make sure these are placed lower on the lower to the ground than they were previously. Not seeing very many catamarans though. There they are. So the little piddly end raft has fishing, and then the others just have dungeon loot. Ooh, fortune. Nice. A lesson in consequences. Yeah! But okay, I think that's doing quite nicely, so the next thing we need is just some layabout debris, essentially. And then we can tell our system that it can put the walls back on, and that it only has like a 1 in 4 chance per thing to actually place any structure. And that'll be good to go. Hooray. I think it's pufferfish needs to be especially prepared, and the cook needs to be very qualified to do it. You're thinking of fugu, but yes. Okay, so the debris is, there might have been a structure here and it was like utterly wrecked over time, or there's just like an assortment of things. They're just sort of like clumped together a little bit. So for this, we can actually have like moss, for instance. You can actually get a marimo out of a whale, for instance. We can turn that off now. Okay, so there's our ships, all good and dusted. And now we need just some flotsam and jetsam. So this can be all manner bric-a-brac. So let me see, I'm going to need... So these don't actually need to be, like, joined together. They just need to look decently like they're associable. And then the next job, of course, is to replace the water with actual stomach acid. Okay, so we need to actually fill this in. We have the structure void. Which I'll use glass as a... At this point, Carol's spending more time in your arms than on the desk. I mean, is that necessarily a bad thing? Okay, good. Save, because I always find it to be good practice to save twice. Okay, next lot. Let's do some sandstone and such. Couple bits of wool, maybe. Bit of obsidian. Who knows where this whale's been? And ooh, some mossy stone bricks, monster egg, because that'll be entertaining if nothing else. And a melon. Your brain just did a silly? What kind of silly did your brain just do? My content is really good to hand sew too? Ah, interesting. I can understand that, strangely enough. One in 1,000 whales has an elder guardian. Oh, that would be interesting, but with one slight actually, hang on, let me check. What is the range of effect from an elder guardian? Within 50 blocks. Okay, so you go into a whale's stomach, and it just happens to be that within a couple of chunks, or within like 3 chunks of a part of that whale's stomach, is a rare whale stomach that spawned an elder guardian. Oh, that's definitely some kind of event right there. I feel like these need to have some kind of surface, like, texturing to them. Like, we're literally just throwing whatever bric-a-brac we like to this, really. Did you say your brain did a silly? I mean, it would be, it's an entertaining concept of randomly you go into a whale stomach and you have to fight an Elder Guardian, but it's a fascinating idea at the very least. Let's add some like glowstone to this just to give it a bit of light. So bury this in the ground slightly, which is fine. Okay. You're also the thought this thing is larger than the Ender Dragon. It probably could swallow an Elder Guardian. You're not wrong. Okay, add that to our list. And then there's just one more. So how do we want to do this last one? Now bear in mind, at some point I do actually want to come back and add like rare traders, so maybe that'll be in the form of more structures, maybe that'll be in the form of adding them to existing structures, that sort of thing. Because I like the idea that you can go into a whale and find like a kobold who's been stranded here for who the heck knows how long, and has been just sort of making their living, and is just very ready to trade you all manner of like rare fish and whatnot, and just random other stuff that's come through the whale. Like, that's an entertaining concept. Okay, did I miss? No, I did not. It's okay. Ishmael swore to find and kill the Elder Guardian eating whale, even if it killed him. I wanted the sponge! Trade you fish and whale flesh? Does not trade you whale flesh. But okay, yeah, so let's... it's not purple. It's prismarine. And we don't have it in stair or slab form in this version, but oh well. Let's add some sponge. And what else tends to turn up around our ocean temple? Sea lanterns, of course. This whale seems to have no flesh, but the trader does, so it's fine. Let's add a bit more moss as well. Gold also spawns in water temples. Joking. I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, even if we like actually took that straight up, that'd be a 1 in 6 chance that the one with the gold spawns, and then that chance is like, assuming a given chunk gets a structure. A gold block is not actually that like weird. And I'd like to let's stick some grass on this if we can. No, we can't. And we don't have seagrass, so bleh. I would like to add some foliage to this. Lily pads, maybe? Yeah, let's try and add a lily pad to this. Wait, no, if I use a lily pad, I have to put water in it. If I put water in, then it'll mesh with the water as it is just fine right now, but when we replace it with acid, it won't work so well. So, leave that alone for the time being. bed, maybe? Get his pot, I guess. Just have like a little rose. How did it get there? We don't know. We don't question it. It's a whale. Okay, yep, that's good. Okay, whale debris free. Save. Double save, just to be safe. Okay, and refresh that, and make sure all of these things actually point to whale debris and not the whale folder that doesn't exist. Okay. Reboot this, and we should be able to go through and have a look. Goes into whale, sees a lump of prismarine. Oh my god, a whale took a bite out of a temple. Yeah. I mean, you find all sorts. They need to find a temple with a bite out of it, or just an impact crater. Okay, whales. Here we go. Let's see how this looks. Bearing in mind, once again, structure, actual density, and frequency way higher than what it will actually be in the end. Yep, going the right direction. Hello, there's a catamaran there, just slightly under the water. Looks quite nice, actually. So, find the point where we stop seeing... Actually, what am I doing? Just teleport forwards. Haven't you ever wondered why there's only 3 monuments in the world? Wales is why. That's not the case anymore, I have discovered. Because there's at least 4 or 5 around my island on World of Madness. So those are floating. That's not great, but... That's not bad. Do I still have this on Moody? That's not right. Now it's Moody. Just update that lighting a little bit. That's not bad. That's not bad. We can definitely make out where the prismarine parts are. Part of a temple being in a whale also gives the thought that this whale survived the Guardians. I mean, it's a whale. They're big. And as I have personally experienced, when a whale does a U-turn right next to you, you get flung like a baseball. Yeah, I don't know how I feel necessarily about them floating so frequently. Like, these should be picking the lowest Y position that they can, that isn't air or water. Oh, that's the catamaran. Another catamaran. Couple of boats too. Glowstone and melon. Yep. I can probably separate these between boats and debris so that the boats are significantly more rare than the debris. Whales still get chunks bitten out of them by cookie-cuttered sharks. I mean, you're not wrong. Nights, guys. Ah, and there's your screm fish. There, Purr. the purrowfish. Yeah, no, stop sticking out. That's good. So yeah, I think we could do with making ships rarer than debris, like just as a first and foremost. And obviously I need to have some slight additional handling to make sure that these actually spawn closer in. And like actually lower, that kind of thing. But that's a little bit more of the nitty-gritty, really. I think it looks good so far. So let's see, let's go there. And let's also get random next int 4 equals 0. So if is ship, then we get those. Else we get these. There. Are the whales name taggable? Absolutely. It would actually be harder for me to make them not name taggable. Okay, that's good. So there is a 1 in 4 chance that a given spawn structure is a ship, and otherwise it is just debris. Hope so, considering the mobile base aspect, yeah. Interesting way for the bow to fit. Yeah, it looks more like a rainbow crown, I guess. Of some description. Okay, so structure structure whale debris. There you are. Can spawn at coordinates, chunk type, yes, that. And let's also get ourselves a random. Rand equals new, random chunk x to the power of chunk z. And rand.next int 3 equals 0. So it's a 1 in 3, so you should always get at least 1, be it like small bit of debris or a boat, but we can lower that if we want. Which says gay rights? Absolutely. And which says like all of the rights. Gay rights, transhuman rights. People who have spliced themselves with about 16 different mobs rights. Just, yeah, all the rights. Non-binary, gender fluids. Just the whole plethora. Xenomorph rights, splicer rights. Oh boy. Like, not to make light of LGBT issues, but yeah, which is very pro rights. Okay, the walls are back. So now we should get pretty much the full view. This one has a catamaran and a little bit of prismarine wreckage, debris. Yeah, that should be going lower. Like, it should be at least flat to the ground. And this one's got some debris as well. Yep. Just debris, but 3 pieces of debris. 2 of which are prismarine. That's not bad. How about this one? This one appears to be unlucky, hasn't gotten anything. Yep, debris there. Oh, and a boat. That's a small fishing boat. Anything? No idea. Yep, more debris. 2 boats. This one has 2 boats. Gee, nameless Enf whale. Why do you get to have 2 boats? Sticks. Yes. So back in 10 minutes, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. So, we have managed to successfully complete adding structures to our whale stomachs, so they can now actually spawn relatively commonly, but not like every single one has like 4 ships, that kind of thing. It's a... let me see, what is the exact figure here? It is a 1 in 3 that one of the given 4 chunks of a given stomach is going to have a structure. And then of those, it is a 1 in 4 that it will be a ship, which is a big thing anyways. So, there's that. And we can just fly through these as much as we like and encounter all manner of debris and all manner of ships. We could expand those later on to be however many we want. But the next thing I want to do is actually get the Ambergris in here. Now, currently it is mostly impersonated by just this white stained glass, which works decently well, but is not what we're after. So we want to replace that, and then the last thing that we need to replace out of here is the water with the stomach acid, which is going to be very similar to our existing acid, but it won't burrow through things, because if the whale's stomach acid burned through the whale, then it would probably kill the whale, and that would be understandable and reasonable. So yeah, that's a thing to bear in mind. But we got all sorts of bric-a-brac and such in here. I might add just a whole ton more forms of debris, just to really diversify and such. But should be good. Oh yes, I also found out why this happens down here, the cascading world gen lag. It happens whenever a structure is placed directly along the world border. Not into the next border over, just along, like, the border of the chunk. So if it happens to align itself in such a fashion, maybe if it's like 16 blocks long or whatnot, then it is always going to generate additional chunks. Fortunately for us, no structures can spawn outside of these stomachs, so cascading world gen doesn't actually cascade very far inside the whale dimension. It's not really something for us to worry about too much. It's not perfect, I grant, but nothing to worry about. So, let's see, we need to add a new block. And then we need to make that block be Ambergris in our structure gen. For Ambergris. And this happens pretty easily, because it currently just basically spawns as an ore, essentially. And we just change that to be VO blocks Ambergris. Pretty straightforward. So let's see, where's whale stuff? There is whale stuff. Haven't figured out what we're gonna have Ambergris do just yet. But it will have a function, it will have a use. Could be a fairly high-end magic component or something, for instance. Still think it should be left as decoration. I mean, that's fair, but I tend to think that things work better if things could be decoration or function, especially if they can be both. Like the mixers and such are actually like pretty aesthetic when they're working, and they're also functional when they're working and stuff. So it's nice to have those both married together. What is it? Material, that's it. So theoretically we don't actually need to have a whole thing for it right now because we don't have a defined function for it just yet, but for the time being we'll have that there. Okay, and down here we'll Ambergris, as well as But yeah, if you didn't know, Ambergris is essentially a waxy kind of build-up that happens inside of whales, and it gives off a mighty potent scent, to say the least. And then it gets processed and turned into all manner of, like, perfumes and such. It's horrifying stuff, raw, as it were, but apparently it's kind of useful in cosmetics. Weird, I don't know why, but just is. Oh yes, item model as well. Wait, did I show off the changes to... Did I show off the changes to the alchemical centrifuge way back when? I don't remember. I might not have. Yes? Okay. Just checking. Just checking. Alright. So, whale flesh. All good. Ambergris, good. Okay, let me just actually have a look at my structure for debris. If I just change that, I wonder if it'll fix itself. It'll fix that whole problem. But okay, so we now need a block state for our thing, and that should be fairly straightforward. Do I have anything that's literally just one state? There's a question. I don't know. Yeah. And that's the timer, that's why. Cold air, there's... Nope. Clock? Nope. Power. Disembodied heart, there you are. Don't forget I owe Carol a hug. Oh. Could maybe be an alternate to Dragon's Breath, but seems kind of cheap. Maybe an alternate to Glowstone. It doesn't glow, but has an ingredient. That is an interesting idea, though, is maybe if you grind it up into a powder or something, you can use it in a brewing stand or whatnot to go to, like, tier 3 potions. Maybe that's an idea. But of course, since it only appears at World Gen inside of whale stomachs, you're always on a limited supply until you find another whale. But using it in brewing is an interesting idea. I can do that for the time being. Okay, right. So we now need a model for Ambergris, and that's fairly straightforward. The main thing we need is also a texture for it. So let's see. Up clock. Oh, I forgot this was a complex one. Never mind. There you go. That's more like it. And then models. Parent, the Ambergris. There. Okay, won't have a name yet, but that's fine. God, so many block states. Remember when this mod was just about adding mobs? And now it adds so much more! Okay. But yeah, as an alternate to dragon, as an alternative to Dragon's Breath, maybe a bit cheap. You find a random whale and you suddenly get Dragon's Breath, which is meant to be ostensibly an end game material, although getting to the dragon and getting it is not that hard. But as something that you can find that will increase your potion strength, that's an interesting idea. Back to the whales. Okay, so there we have the beginnings of some ambergris. Quite a lot of ambergris in this guy, actually. Ooh. But no structures, so, you know, pros and cons, I guess. Pros and cons. And no ambergris of any kind in this guy. But a boat, you know, that's 2 boats, actually. I need to remember to tell this that whale meat is, whale flesh is not opaque. This is not a transparent block, but it's fine. So there are requirements. Ambergris pretty much only spawns inside of the stomach acid, which makes it especially hard to recover. You are going to take some damage there, probably, but the acid doesn't destroy the items, so. Keeping everything as close to vanilla as possible so it's intuitive. Fair. Yeah. So there's some more, yep. No, I feel like evidently we didn't fix whatever was causing that. A bit more. Okay, good. Right. So obviously we need to retexture it, because currently it just looks like dust, which is not good. But it'll suffice for this exact moment. Scoops up whale stomach acid and use it for a defensive trap at the man base. The man base? Oh, the main base, you mean? I don't know if I'll even add a bucket for it, honestly. Okay, so now I think it would be in MapGen Caves? Yeah, right there. Okay. So, let's add ourselves... We had acid before, we now need to add... Where are you? There. We now need to add ourselves some stomach acid. Fluid acid, there you are. Okay, so now these burn directions inside of here we don't need to care about, really. We can just leave that as its normal update. Is unbreakable, I think, is only used by itself, and so not anymore. Flow into is fine. Burn into is just no utility block, I don't think we need. Ballot position, nope. Burn directions, fine. Display tick we can keep for the moment. Let's increase the quanta to, say, 8. which is roughly how far it can flow, essentially. That should be good. And we don't add a block of it, naturally. I think that's about the only part we need to add as well. Yep, okay. So then map gen caves, replace that with the VO blocks. Stomach acid default state. This will make it a missing texture, but well, we're working on it. Oh, I think I've started this up wrong. Because... yeah, right there it says stomach acid, so it'll register a secondary thing. Keep it as the acid, I think, because the fluid acid is the thing that actually deals the damage. I think. Oh no, it's on the collided with block part that does it, yeah. But it deals acid damage. If it's an entity item, then we destroy it. Yeah, do we want to get rid of that? I don't think so. Okay, now it should be good to go, and it should still be a missing texture, but nonetheless. Actually, it'll be a missing texture, or it'll look like regular acid. Strong acid, I guess we'd call it. Back to the whales. Let's just brighten up. Yep, there it goes, all right. Yep, surrounded by stomach acid here. But it is stomach acid. Good. Okay, can I bucket this? Apparently I can. And I think now it's just regular acid as well. Let's find out. Yep, it absolutely is just regular acid at that stage. Okay, yeah, we have bugs to fix. That is the very spicy. Because you definitely should not be able to do that. Also turn the particles down a little bit there. Okay. Can collide. No. Trying to see if there's a thing that checks if you can pick it up or not. Iron's as precious. Yeah. Let's see if we can find something around here. Can harvest? Where that's related? Probably not. Actually, I think item buckets. On the right click. Okay. It's modifiable. Can edit it. Yes. The block state. The material from it. Yes. It's water or lava. Sure. Not seeing anything that would prevent us from actually using that. But I'm also not seeing anything that would actually place it either. Like I'm not seeing a hook in for that for actually like the acid, for instance. I just have to, yeah, add bucket for fluid. That's probably it, honestly. So, yeah, we just need to add another for this. There's a small fly walking down my monitor, and I genuinely mistook it for a coding error there. So just get rid of that part. And then tell the stomach acid block that it should actually be using the stomach acid fluid. Okay. Is there not a... There should logically be a texture here somewhere. For acid. Yep, there we go. My dual seals come. Okay, right, well let's just see if that at least has fixed the problem of being able to bucket up stomach acid and unbucket it as a source block of actual acid. Because players are pretty much never meant to have access to, like, source blocks of acid. They're meant to be temporary things. And we have a problem. What happened? Oh. I didn't add these to the map somewhere. let's just open that actually and see where acid gets referenced. Just there and there. Okay, so I should have everything everywhere. Should being the operative word. Come on, stomach acid. You might be an untextured mass, but come on. Nope, we somehow still have a problem. What's happening here? Fluid map contains fluids unknown to the master fluid registry. How, though? Where's that referenced? Projectile, initiative, initiator. Vial of acid, acid arrow, yep, those are all fine. It is in there, just as this is. So what's causing this to be weird? Roll for initiative? Oh, with that music, yeah. This is supposed to be the chill station on Pretzel as well. I mean, we shouldn't... We don't want it to have a bucket, is the thing. Oh, initiative instead of initiator. Oh, gotcha. Right. Surprised that I'm not seeing in here a measure of whether or not you can bucket something. Viscosity, color, empty sound, fill sound, rarity, temperature, density, luminosity, block. All that. Can't actually tell you how much is, like, what a way to set if it can be bucketed or not. There's gotta be something I'm missing here. Obviously, but still. Unfortunately, I don't have my dice within reach, or else I wouldn't. I would absolutely roll for initiative. Good for mob grinders. I mean, that's the hope. Yeah. I mean, if we tell it to not destroy items, then yes, it'd be good for mob grinders. But then, if it does destroy items, then it's just a really slow form of lava. But it's gone? No, my bot's still here. Unless you're referring to a different bot. The Roll command? Wait, I don't... I'm not sure I follow. One unregistered... Oh, hang on. Is... Yeah, I think I know what's wrong. Okay. Yeah, that's still known as stomach... It's still known as acid and not stomach acid. That's why. Go! I think small milklings slip around in my Discord at least. We're just getting old. Small milkling has been through a lot. Okay, we're gonna crash again. Do let me know. Hey! We managed to load, that's good. And... yeah, that's progress, alright. So can I, like, first step, if I bucket this, and assuming I can bucket it, does it turn into a lava? Or into an acid? No, it doesn't. Okay, good. Have I seen it? It hurts predictably, yes. Ooh, that really went down, didn't it? Whip. Effect at P. Instant health, please. There we go. Whip. Look, there was a lip. I didn't see the lip. And I'm now getting pushed. That's, I definitely don't think, I feel like I shouldn't be getting pushed here. Like, that's something. Which I guess means I need to dial down the viscosity. But hey, this is looking good. Obviously, it needs to be a different color. Like, more of a beige kind of tone. But, hey, progress. So you can tell it's not regular acid because A, it's not burning through the stomach. And B, it's significantly lower particles. And also significantly slower death. Fishes in the acid. Good question, actually. I'm gonna try that. Will this actually work, is my next question. I sincerely doubt it. But you know, you never know. I should just have it, like, destroy the bobber, shouldn't I? Yeah. Actually, I think it is working. Yep, it totally is working. Oof. So the answer is yes, it does in fact work. Because I can see the water bubbles and stuff around. Huh. Surviving a whale by fishing. Fishing things out of its stomach acid. There you go. Talk about your edge cases. Yeah, I think that's just because the fishing rod checks for any liquid. I think you might actually be able to fish inside of lava. But okay, different color, and then it should be good, pretty much. Because I can't recall. I think acid is itself just a blank texture. Keep it? Yeah, I'm gonna keep that. That's fun. Let's see, density, nil. Viscosity, I think is how quickly it spreads. Definitely don't want it to send. We definitely don't want to send it to be gaseous. Don't think you can fish in lava? I'm not checking for right now, at least. Let's see, set color, color dot. Yeah, let's set it to pink for the time being. What is the viscosity of water? That's my next question. Presumably it's the default value, 1000. Okay. And let me see, what other values should I necessarily want to set for this thing? That I can do for main here at least. Could change it to luminosity. There's an idea. Make it slightly glow, for instance. Then you would know if you're about to step into it, even in the darkest of settings. Yeah, I think it shouldn't be pushing us, is the thing. Let's check fluid grease, because fluid grease is all about pushing you a whole ton. Default slipperiness, there you are. And then modify acceleration, I think, is another thing. Where does that get used? Inside of block stairs, apparently. So yeah, if we just have that return motion, then it shouldn't slow you down at all. Shouldn't being the operative word here. Okay, and let's see. Default slipperiness. Let's see what that value is by default. .6. So that should hopefully. Yeah, that should hopefully mean it doesn't push us. Hopefully. And if we see it's changed color, then that makes it a lot easier for us to actually change the color to be what we want. We just set the right value rather than just saying a default color. Nearly done! Yay! Then we just need to add like whale meat items that you can cook and eat, as well as a bit of whale blubber and whatnot, as well as ambergris items, and also actually tie the removal of whale meat inside of a stomach to damaging the whale. According to Dusty, you cannot in fact fish in lava. Well, good to know. Okay, hasn't changed the color, so that's gotta be part of the texture then. Presumably that's related to the item texture, which doesn't exist, so is irrelevant. So let's see. We need to check if it will actually flow in, and if it will push me while it's flowing as well. Nope, it no longer pushes me, by the looks of it. but that might just be because I'm in creative mode. Nope, it no longer pushes me. Perfect. Right. So it just needs a retexturing. Hooray! Now, the only other bit you could find out about it is that the lava makes the bobber sink to the bottom. Oh, okay. Neat. Welcome back to the sea, everybody. Yeah, we're pretty close to 0-0. And here would be, I believe, yeah, here is indeed whale 0. Probably a viscosity thing. I mean, yeah. But now we have fixed this, so yay. Okay, right, that is all I have for y'all today. Hope you've enjoyed tremendously, and I'm gonna delete this one and just refresh it, because now it's irrelevant to us. So next time we are doing the final bits, more or less. Just adding in the items related to the blocks and such inside of our whale, and then hooking up the removal of whale meat to the associated whales. But as I say, that's log up for tonight. So hope you've all enjoyed. My next stream will be tomorrow at 7. We have our second campaign of Dungeons & Dragon Hats with Phoneus, where you get to see me being more of a xenomorph. And then on Thursday night at 9, we have some more Monster Hunter World. And at 9 on Friday, we have more Friday night starting a brand new game. And we'll have some more Dungeons & Dragon Hats at 7 on Saturday, followed by the Carousel at 9, and more of this on Tuesday at 9. Meanwhile, I do make videos over at youtube.com/comic, and everything I do is powered by you at Patreon at patreon.com/lying. You guys are the only reason I can afford to do literally anything, so thank you very much for that. Really, no amount of support is too small in that regard. But with that, hope you've all enjoyed. I'll catch you all next time.